Hello, good morning, everyone. It's 8 o'clock, and welcome to your first class at Innomatics. We still have people coming in. We will wait for a couple of minutes and then we will begin. All right. And till then, please make sure you are muted. Make sure you have water with you. If you want to take a break, take it right now. And today, we are just going to go through the introduction about what data science is like. There might be a little bit of repetition of the concepts that you might have heard before. So please feel free to use this as an opportunity to interact a lot, get all your questions clarified. All right. Be seated. We will start in a few minutes. Till then, I hope some more people will be joining us. All right, I think we are good to start. Please make sure everyone is muted. Feel free to unmute yourself when we have time for question answering. All right. Right now, um, Venkat, can you please mute yourself? Raghu, can you help me with that? All right, thank you. Wonderful. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Aditya, and I'm going to take you through this introductory journey about data science, what data science is all about, how it is linked with your career aspirations, and how we are going to help you reach there. All right. Before we begin, I would just like to give a very brief introduction of myself. My name is Aditya, and I am one of the trainers here at Innomatics. I am a machine learning engineer. I have been playing with the roles of machine learning engineer as well as data scientist. And my background is in theoretical computer science. I did my master's from Triple IT Hyderabad, where I was able to work hands on early in the beginning days of the trend of data science. We worked with NLP, we built plenty of applications for industry as well as government organizations. And with that knowledge, I'm going to share you my experience with data science and how Innomatics is going to take you forward from there. So that's all about me. I would like you to introduce yourself. Just mention how many years of experience you have. If you are a fresher, write zero. If you are working, write how many years of experience you have, probably along with the area of work that you do. Just write a number and you are a test engineer, write 3 comma test engineer, comma Hyderabad. That will help us get to know each other. Use the chat window for that. Introduce yourself in very crisp way. And till then, Venkat Sai Reddy, if you are accessing through two devices, one of your devices has is unmuted. Please make sure it's muted. All right, thank you. We have Venkat. Hi, Venkat. So you are a fresher from Hyderabad. Mallikarjun, fresher. Lalita is fresher. Hey, so many freshers. Bodhiratna is a fresher. Sai Harsha, fresher. Wonderful. Mm, okay. Saran has 3 years of experience as ERP developer. Okay, nice. We have plenty of people from backgrounds similar to yours. Vinay from Bhimavaram. Nice. Geetika, Divya. Okay, nice. Atish is third year student. Wonderful. This is, I think, you are making the best of the opportunity here. By the time you graduate, I think you will already be one step ahead of the rest of the people. Harsha is a fresher. Suraj, 3 years as business development manager, right? Suraj Ambedkar. Ambekar, okay. Nice. So, in business development, a lot of people, rather, if you speak from sales management or sales intelligence perspective, there is a team called sales support, right? They have started playing with how to leverage data to uh, reach out with better prospects for sales. Jaraj, 6 years. Okay, nice. in Java. Okay. All right. So it's great to have you all here. And what we are going to do today is that uh, we will go through the introductory ideas about data science. I'm going to show you a couple of very simple examples. I'll show you one end-to-end project we have built. I'll show you a couple of simple examples our students who are in the middle of the course right now are building, and I'll share the pointers which I think will really help you with your career aspirations. Let me see if I have the notepad open. Yeah. Uh, a couple of more people have joined us who probably cannot hear us. I am going to share that screen one more time so that they fix their audio. All right. This message is for the people who just joined who they cannot hear me at all. So we have Ranjit and Sayed Shah. And somebody's mic is being turned on again and again. Please mute yourself, otherwise we can hear all your private conversation. Okay, I hope Ranjit and Sayed would have got the message. And let's continue with the main agenda for today. We are going to have a lot of discussions here. All right. So right now, again, please use the chat window. We are going to have a lot of interactions here. Okay, use the chat window and tell me, can you see my screen? I have shared a presentation which contains title of the discussion today. Type yes or Y in the chat if you can see my screen. All right, thank you guys. Fine, let's begin from there. So some of you must have heard about what we do, how our approach at Innomatics about learning data science, right? Let me know if you have seen our history before, if you know what we do. I have not updated the slides right now. We have finished more than 80. uh, we are in the middle of uh, yeah, 71 72 batches are over. We have more than 10 13 14 batches going on right now. And the interesting part here is that when people come to us, they want to do a course, and then yeah, you will get certifications, you will get very good opportunities with the industry. But the kind of learning experience that happens here is like that a lot of our students are referring their friends and family members, and that should tell you something about our approach, our methodology. And definitely there are plenty of algorithms, plenty of concepts that we teach, that I believe is secondary. But more important is we tune to your requirements, we tune to your needs and take you forward. And the one very interesting thing that I as a trainer find at Innomatics is that we have plenty of industry connects and hackathons. So time to time we keep inviting people from the industry who are uh, building the stuff right now, who are building $1 million data centric products, or who are working with top companies, and they will give you a very clear perspective about what to expect, what not to expect. So today we are going to have just a brief introduction. And please confirm if you can see agenda slide. Due to some reason, I do not know why it's not reflecting on my screen. Type yes if you can see the title as agenda. Can you? Okay. All right. Then there is something wrong in my other screen. Okay, a couple of things. Most of you have been quite cooperative so far. Please be active, attentive, be on mute, and the questions. I rather believe if you have any question, put it on the chat window. If it is possible for me to answer it right there, I will do it. If not, repeat it at the end whenever we will stop after every chunk of 3 4 slides. Okay, and then you can feel free to use chat message as much as possible. We want to give you the experience of more like sitting in a classroom without while being in the comfort of being in your home. So let's talk about what data science are all about. So who does not understand this? Type no if you do not understand what's the connection between AI, ML, deep learning. Type N on chat. If a lot of people don't, then I'm going to explain it. Otherwise, we can skip it safely. Okay, Lalita is saying no, Divya is saying no, Praveen. Okay, fine. So, guys, what happens is that AI is there is nothing new about AI. Okay, we have been, you have seen sci-fi movies which were there even before computer graphics were so advanced, right? The concept of AI has been there, but how we do it was different. So we used to, I can just create a sensor, I can create a robot, I can take a toy car, put a sensor above it which can read how far is the wall or object in front of it. I can say find the distance. If distance is less than 1 meter, turn right. Then after 1 second again, find the distance. If distance is less than 1 meter, turn right. Otherwise, keep going straight. Right? I can just write this if else loop and then it can help me create logic. So essentially, I am giving it some kind of intelligence. I can make it way more sophisticated. But is that enough? We have been doing it for so many years. Lot of industrial robotics in manufacturing sector and some other sectors has been built on that kind of logic. Then we realized that it rather than me telling computer what to do in what situation, we can find data from the past and we can then connect it with what to expect. If the robot goes further, smashes on a wall, then we have a pointer, okay, this is not what you should be doing in that situation. But you keep going straight, and if you turned due to any reason, you did not smash, then maybe that is what you should be doing. We have got data, and now based on certain algorithms, you can learn it yourself. Your robot rather can learn it's by itself, right? Rather than me telling what to do in what situation. Same way, you have one very common example you see day to day is when you open your email, there are new emails coming to your spam folder. Gmail has been learning over past 15 years, 20 years that okay, when people labeled a mail as spam, it contained a text like from unknown person, from some random email ID, which sounds more like hello, I am Prince so and so from that country. My relative died. They left me with money. I need to reach out to you to get it fixed. I will get the money. I'll give you a share of it, right? So when somebody clicked on the button report as spam, Google got that data and their algorithms are now trying to learn, okay, these are the combinations of the words which might point out to a spam. That is machine learning. The next concept we have is deep learning. So deep learning is a set of very deep learning, ANN are kind of, they go hand in hand. ANN is relatively old concept. Again, this is something which has been happening since past 30 years. So people discovered that if we can create very simple logic conditions, very simple, you will learn it when later we get deeper into the course. But by combining very simple logic, we can create it a very robust network of logics, and that is called as the artificial neural networks. When we make it even more complex, when we make it deep, we stack layer by layer of that logic, then it becomes deep learning. The problem back then was we did not have too much data. The computers were very small. The supercomputer of 40 50 years ago, just think about it, okay, whatever we used to call as a supercomputer, a computer more powerful than that is sitting in your pocket right now. Your phone is more powerful than the supercomputer of that era. So now we have that much computation capacity. Think about today's industry clusters of computers. So we can now process the problems that we could not do them before. That's why deep learning has been picking up a lot lately. Okay? So this diagram shows you how they interact with each other. So It's not like machine learning is a different subject, deep learning is a different subject. They are related to each other. All right. And in AI, there are plenty of other things. There are very simple things we have studied, like how to we have searching algorithms, A star pruning, and all. So they are the kind of topics we now prefer not to study. We think that if we can directly go from the data-oriented approach, we can do more, much better. Okay. Is it clear? Type yes if you understand the difference now. Just type Y or S. Okay. Now, this is something that we always say, who can learn data science? The answer is that it's a very open field right now, and it has been growing very rapidly. Okay. And if you come with the right mindset, whatever your background is, you can learn data science. A lot of people say that you need plenty of math, you need plenty of coding. Do not worry. Here in our curriculum, we take very gradually, very slowly, step by step. We whatever is required, we will build it for you. If you're not from IT background, or if you do not have coding skill, you do not know math, you do not know databases, do not worry. Whatever is required at whatever level is required, we will take you there. The only thing you require is you should be highly curious. This, I think, there is no alternative to this requirement. If you are curious, if you are hardworking enough, if you are ready for that commitment, then you can learn data science, and then definitely you can transition your career very swiftly. Okay, this slide shows you what kind of stuff do we study in machine learning. Okay, so machine learning has broadly been divided into these two different kinds, supervised and unsupervised learning, and a little bit of discussion has been going on around reinforcement learning. So there are cases where you can look at the graph just to understand. I'm going to tell more about it later, but these are the ideas that we will study later in the course. In supervised learning, we have the kind of problems we face is, we know what is the data, we know the expectations. Okay, that is supervised learning. For example, a bank transaction has just happened. This is what actually happens. I have worked in this field. Okay, when a transaction happened, within next few seconds, all the when you order anything on Amazon or any place, notice it will not be order, your money will be deducted, but order will not be placed right away. It will take a few seconds. This is what happens in the background. So all your data will be crunched, your bank details will be crunched, and then we will try to find out whether this transaction might be fraudulent or not, whether it might be from a stolen credit card or not. Okay, how do we do that? When we have lot of past data, we have lot of signals coming from your data, and in the past we have seen that when people the same person used 100 different mobile phones, and they have changed their credit card uh, 20 times in the past 2 months, then there is something wrong. And the problem which we are trying to solve here is whether this transaction should happen or not. When you have such clear expectation about what is happening, rather when you have a clear label about what to tell about the data, then we call it supervised learning. Okay, and even this is an example. Another example is something like market forecasting, or one example that I take a lot is, based on your current salary, based on your occupation, based on your age. If now think from a sales manager's perspective, I am a car salesman. Okay, and you are coming to my store. I am wearing coat, you are dressed whatever you where you are right now. It's very hard to differentiate between the people of different demographics, right? So when you come in, I'll ask you a few questions. And why I'm asking those questions, you might feel uncomfortable, but by understanding a little details about you, if let's say if you are earning 1 crore rupees per month, or per annum, if you are earning that much, you come to my store and I show you, hey, this is the latest model of Tata Nano. Will you be happy talking further about it? So that is what I want to avoid. What if you are a fresher and you just started earning, you realize that rather than bike, now it's the right time when you should migrate to a car. And then you say, okay, let me buy a car, and I am showing you cars which are 15 lakh, 20 lakh rupees. That might be a turn off for you. If by looking at your data, I'm able to predict what is the price you might be ready to pay, what is the monthly EMI you might be ready to pay, then my job will be easier, and your experience will be much happier, right? This kind of problems, when we are labeling a number, they are called regression. On the other hand, we have stuff when we have uh, 20 different students in a class. By looking at their past data, can I say that these people are similar? These people are similar. Maybe freshers from a computer science background are similar. Maybe people who have been working in the industry in non-IT area are similar to each other. And then I can tune my course according to these individual groups of people. This is called as clustering. The problem is not that simple. I made it sound overly simple, okay? But this is what we mean by unsupervised learning. Rather than having clear expectations about what is the output, we want to rather understand more about the data. And then reinforcement learning is a kind of different approach where rather than giving past experience, past data, we ask our model to learn by its own experience. You have a robot, it bangs into the wall, then it learns. Do not bang into the wall, it's bad for you. These are the three primary categories. Okay. So these are a couple of things that you can answer with the help of data. On the left, you can see kind of questions. When you have to uh, discriminate between two different things, we call it as classification. When you have to talk about is something different from the rest. For example, if you are a network manager and you see there is a lot of new kind of load is starting in your network, then maybe after 5 minutes your network might go down. This is an anomaly that you have to take care of right now. Okay. When we have questions like how much or how many, we call it regression. When we have questions like how, what does my data look like, then we have clustering. When we have questions like what should we do next, we have reinforce. So all these are basic terms, and right now I know I'm not going to depth of it, but these are categories of algorithms. They are not single algorithms. Okay. There are multiple classification algorithms that you will study. There are multiple clustering algorithms that you will study, and this will be done over the period of next few months. Somebody again turned on their mic. Okay. Now, what does the path look like, the way we have structured the course? And yeah, one thing I must tell you is that the course is has been evolving with time, and we reflect to the industry standards, we reflect to the expectations. As you know, a lot of us are have hands-on industry experience, and we have a lot of people in the advisory committee, a lot of people we talk to who tell us how to fine tune the course. And the way we have structured is more like this. We start with giving you the idea about how to write your own logic in code. And even if you are from a non-programming background, this is where you will have a lot of learning, you will have a lot of fun. And if you are from programming background, even in that case, I have noticed across all the people I have taught, when we take this approach, the framework that we have devised, the kind of examples, the kind of projects that we will be working together, the approach is rather than learning lines of code, the approach is more about solving problem. And once you do that, then we learn tools for data analysis, which are used in programming. Then by the end of first 1 month, we have uh, projects on exploratory data analysis. So you will be that capable that you have something, you have a data set, and then you can find out your own conclusion from it. Okay. And after that, we move on to statistics and probabilistic tools and theory. These will be helpful later when we get to the depth of understanding data. After that, definitely now that we are talking about data, where is the data coming from? We have database technologies. So we have SQL and other databases which we can use to read. And on the other hand, we have software like Tableau, which help us understand what is there in our data. So we will teach you that. After that, we will go to machine learning. We will spend good amount of time with every single algorithm that we teach, and we will have plenty of examples. So it's I hope other people have already told you about it, right? Our approach is not like we want to teach you. Thing is, we want to make you build something, and this will go on through of all of these stages of your learning. Even in machine learning, you will be building something every day. I'm going to show you examples of what our students are building right now, who have been 2 months into the course. Then we will move to deep learning, and then we can look at advanced concepts from different areas of machine learning. Okay, so fine. uh, if you have any questions, prepare them. I am going to give you opportunity to ask your questions next. So, do data scientists need to be programmers? The answer is, once you are in the course, you will be learning good amount of programming, which will be required by you later. But for learning data science, you do not need to be a programmer. Okay, the course, wherever you learn it from, make sure the course gives you good amount of grasp of programming. Other thing is, do I need Excel? And my answer, these are personal opinions. My answer is that mostly no. You should be able to do basic data analysis, but you do not need to be an expert in Excel. A lot of people I've heard say that you should know data analytics and then you should be expert in writing VB script. No, it's not required. I've been in the industry for more than 5 years. It's not required. Do I get a job easily after course? This is the question which you have in your mind, right? And guys, right now you are enrolling in the course and you are in such a very interesting point of time that the economic crisis which happened due to COVID is going to be over. Companies are opening up. Companies have started hiring, and I work with a company which is into enterprise recruitment space. So I can see the trend that hiring has been increasing a lot recently. The companies had to let people go some time ago. Now, lot of these companies are hiring more people than they had before. Okay. That is point number one. Point number two is, within past few months, companies realized that we really need to go more and more towards leveraging data science wherever possible. And this is an opportunity for you. Make the best out of it, and you will have a lot of fun. So now we'll take a short break. Feel free if you have any questions. Put them in the chat. If you want to talk, click on raise hand and then we can talk. We are open to any kind of questions right now. Do not feel shy. Do not worry. If you think there is something that you do not want to share openly, you can send it. Can you? Okay, no, you can't. Hmm. Okay. Questions about course structure, questions about the industry expectations in data science, questions about what you should be doing. Feel free.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, Harsha.
So I have been working with. I have just. Uh, Sorry. Uh, I am just completed my graduation
Mm-hmm.
from KL University,
Mm-hmm.
and I have done some major work in data science as well.
Uh-huh.
So I have been basically trying to learn Power BI
Okay.
and a little bit of Excel, and I have done some good work in ETL process,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and even I also have worked using visualization tools and
Mm-hmm.
IPython notebook,
Okay.
yeah, and
Nice.
something really basic R libraries like Carrot and other stuff as well.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
I would like to know what this course will provide me in
Okay.
extra.
Good.
Like, I want to learn MLDL so that
Okay.
I can learn these regression algorithms
Right.
uh, and the different clustering algorithms that you have shown us
Mm-hmm.
just now.
Sure. Sure, I'll answer that, Harsha. I'll first of all I'll say it's a very, very, very good question. We have seen students who have learned, and probably you learned by yourself, right?
Yeah, I have learned from myself and some YouTube channels like
Okay,
Simply Learn.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
fine. Now, one thing I really appreciate is that you have spent so much time in learning, and I appreciate that you have breadth knowledge,
yeah,
right? You know a little bit of about lot of subjects. Now it's the right time when you can start to go deeper into a particular area. So I'll again come back to this. Where is the slide? Yeah. So you mentioned that you work with the Jupyter Notebook, IPython, and all, right?
yeah,
This is the first step in our journey here in as a part of this course. We start from there, and then we use Python. We will definitely use the other tools, but Python will become our primary tool for learning. And from that, immediately we get into how to analyze data from Python's perspective. And after that, by the end of 1 month, I told you, right? People have
yeah,
done EDA kind of projects before using pandas, and pandas is the library you will use
yeah.
day in, day out.
Pandas and NumPy.
Yeah, exactly. So that is all what you will become expert in the first 1 month. After that, by the end of next 2 months, you will start to get uh, in the next second month, you will get a very good grasp about looking at data from statistical perspective.
Yeah,
Okay. And by third month, you will know plenty of good machine learning algorithms that you will use day in, day out.
okay.
So I hope this course offers a lot of additional stuff compared to what you have learned so far. So your personal target should be rather now to focus on getting expertise in a particular area like machine learning, and then make sure your programming skills are top notch. That is a requirement.
I would
And
like to ask something as well.
yeah,
Yeah, I want to start my journey as a junior data analyst.
okay.
Uh, should I prefer being a junior data analyst, or should I think in a big way, like should I
Okay.
start as a junior data scientist so that
Okay, good
there might
question.
be,
Right now, I'll stop you there. So rather, it's better if you talk to any consultant here. Okay.
yeah,
So I think
okay,
I might not be the perfect person to answer that question. The person who answers that will really have to understand where you come from, what's your background, what are your expectations, and then probably after this class you can connect with Raghu or anybody at Innomatics, and
okay,
then they can help you answer this question for yourself, right?
okay,
Actually, the answer has to come from yourself. Other person can only point you to the
guide
right
me.
direction. Fine. Good question. You really uh, you are doing a justice. You really need to think that much about it, right?
Okay, sir.
So, fine. By the way, as a part of this course, we do not end at just teaching you the algorithms. We will take you forward after from there, and then as a part of the journey, you will also be going with stuff related to natural language processing, CV, computer vision, and then whatever fancy stuff that you have been seeing online, you will be building it by yourself by the end of 4 months. So this is what this course is about. And one more thing I would like to point out related to the question which Harsha was asking is that a lot of people think that data analysis is easy, data science is, there is nothing like that. Okay. So it's like they are two sides of the same coin. Even if you are enrolling in a data science course, there will be a lot of concepts from data analysis coming in. All right. Now, this slide shows you a top level idea about what we are going to learn in this course. Okay. So we have on one side, in the first 1 month, you will be learning all this Python pandas, data analysis is a part of it. Then you have NumPy, SciPy, Matplotlib, and we have added other very nice visualization libraries like Seaborn. And again, there are plenty of tools to do the same thing, but we will teach you the tools which will be the ones which are the ones which are in high requirement. So when you take this approach, when you first, you will take the left wing of this diagram, okay, in the first 1 month. So by this time, when you finish it, you're already ahead of more than 70-80% of the people who are in the job market in this area. After that, we start with the, so we combine several ideas and then we move on to SQL and Tableau. And in this, you will learn how to play with large data set, how to extract the data. As a data scientist, our job is not only to focus on one particular area, right? It's not like I can say, okay, give me the data set, I'll do some magic and give you the output. What we rather do is we have to make sure that sometimes we might have to, other person might not really know what kind of data we need. We are the ones who will have to work with the data. So you will hear it like a joke most a lot of time that 90% of my time goes in collecting data, 10% is the actual work. So it's just like a joke, but that shows, that is based on some little bit of reality. Once you are done with this middle wing, after that we will move to the next part, which is on the right, which is hardcore machine learning, AI. We will start with statistics, then we will keep introducing concepts from all these areas. And once you are done with machine learning, then we move to advanced applications like computer vision, NLP, with the help of deep learning. Okay, and right now deep learning, some of you already know, is one of the most trending areas in this field. So our course contains all of this. And in terms of industries where data science is used, my answer is right now everywhere. Every single industry that you can think about, I can tell you how they are either using or planning to use over the next couple of years, planning to use data science. I know examples here in Telangana. A friend of mine had been working with one of the largest companies in network providers, not network devices space. They had been subcontracted a job by Telangana government where the government has installed small poles in the lakes all around Telangana, from which we have sensors to collect all the data about what's the status of the lake, what is the temperature, what is the percentage of all different what sodium and other minerals that they check. Based on that, they want to be able to predict what is, how is the population of living creatures in that lake, and then they want to tune it accordingly. If the population is going to skyrocket, in that case they will tell the farmer, rather fishermen, to collect fishes from those lakes. Otherwise they will stop fishing in those lakes. This is the plan over next few years. Just think, we are talking about agriculture and fisheries. Nobody knew that such things can be used there. In finances, I gave you an example. We have other things related to customer lifetime value. Not only in finances, it's also there in plenty of other fields like retail. When you go to Ratnadeep or any other store, or you go to Shoppers Stop, they ask for your phone number. You tell your phone number, and after that, it's that phone number is not, or they give you a card, right? That fancy card that looks like a credit card. It's not there to give you discount. After 5 years of shopping, they will give you 100 rupees discount. But the purpose of storing your phone number or giving you a card is to track your expenditure, track your how you are, what you are buying. Based on that, they can manage their stores. They can find out how are the trends moving in the market. And for an individual, they can find customer lifetime value. So now, based on looking at how much you are purchasing, if I'm able to find what um, over next 10 years, how much stuff will you buy from me, then maybe I can differentiate you from other customers and give you different kind of services. I can give you better offers, right? Then fine. There are plenty of examples that you can see here. Let's move. We have all these different libraries that we will be learning. Harsha has already mentioned some of them, and there is plenty of other stuff that you will be learning in as a part of the course. And our motivation is to make you expert at these. So by the end of next 4 months, you will pick any of them, you will be expert at. Now, What kind of jobs can we get? Now, this is something which I really should explain. Also, a lot of you also might have questions just like Harshad. So, what kind of role can you get into? Okay, we have one thing called as reporting expert. They are a different category. Please understand the difference. Okay. There is another slide which will clarify the difference between data science, data analyst. Right now, let's look at reporting expert. You can become expert in all these tools like SPSS, W without knowing anything about Python and without knowing machine learning. Guys, in that case, you are a reporting expert. You are not a data analyst. Okay. To be a data analyst, you have to become very good in even applying the algorithms. And apart from that, there is another thing called as a data engineer, whose job is more like to make sure that the pipeline of the data is not coming from only one source. It will be very rare that you will be given a file and you have all the data you can use from there. Okay. So what will happen is that you might need to prepare a pipeline of different at different levels. Data is You will combine data from different sources. You will clean it. If some data is missing, you will find out how to fill it up. And then you also want to make sure that there are 100 different people who are reading that data at the same time. It should not go down. There is job of data engineer. And then there is a kind of a different category called as a business analyst. So business analyst, you might use data analysis and reporting, but they are more of a business person. By that I mean they are more of a, they look at what is required to be built. That is their role. So that is out of scope. We have reporting expert. Yes, we do need reporting experts, but do you want to be one? Answer that for yourself. Then we have stuff like data analyst, data science, data engineer. And then let's move on to more fine grained difference. And what is data science? This will show up here. So we have a data scientist. Okay, and then we have data engineer, and then we have data analyst. So I picked this up from somewhere, and this slide is a little old. So ignore that subheader. A lot of trends have changed in the industry, but the idea here is that there are a lot of other terminologies like machine learning engineer. Have you heard about it? So you have AI expert, AI engineer, right? They all are combinations of them. We do not have a very clear straightforward person who is only a data engineer who will not do anything else. So you might do more of one thing, less of other thing. And in data science, as a data scientist, you will be playing with the data day in day out, and Python will be one of your primary tools, and SQL, R, and other things will be your secondary tools. Okay. And what you need to what you will be doing is you will look at large data sets, you will find insights, you will create reports based on that insight. That how do you find insight from the data will be your primary job. As a data engineer, your primary job will be more about making sure that pipeline is working fine. Data scientists will have access to the data they need. Okay. As a data analyst, your job will be to analyze the data for other teams, for other people, for different kind of managers. So you will need plenty of business knowledge, you will need plenty of statistical knowledge here as well, but you will be limited to that scope of just analyzing the data rather than building something. Okay. And then the newer trends are like machine learning engineer. What's a machine learning engineer? Machine learning engineer is somebody who knows all of these, and he is more of a combination of data scientist and data engineer. And machine learning engineer's job is to rather find out what is rather create something. Machine learning engineer, AI engineer, they will look at data science solutions, they will look at data engineering pipeline, they will prepare the pipeline for themselves, or they will modify it. They will look at the algorithms they can leverage, and based out of that they will create an application. For all these fancy things that you see, when you type something on WhatsApp, then even if you have misspelled a word, the next word you should be typing shows up on your keypad right above the keys, right? That is job of a machine learning engineer. Then I'll show you some other examples of what machine learning engineers do. what you need to get into a career in this area, the biggest thing is you need to build your personal professional profiles and a portfolio. You will definitely need a solid resume, and resume should say where what you can do. So when you are going for a new job, when you want to transition to a new career, or when you are starting your career, companies do not want you to be an expert, okay? But companies, what they are looking for is, can you improve their productivity? Can you help them earn more money by spending lesser time? If you can, then they will invite you for the interview and they will hire you. And for that, this is where we begin, right? We have to build our resume, we have to build our LinkedIn and GitHub and Kaggle and other personal profiles. You will be building your portfolio with cool stuff that you have done in the past. And then you will definitely need, on one side you have machine learning, statistics and data analysis. On the other side you have your programming skills and database. These are all what is tested. So again, we will I can tell you about how this course is going to help you there, but just keep in mind that these are the things that you will need to look at. Now, the most important thing before I close this slide deck is, right now is the time when a lot of people are realizing that this is a booming field. And in Hindi we say, right, Vati Ganga mein haath dholo. There are plenty of people who are crazily running after this field everywhere in the world. So do not delay. You have to start getting into it, learn it, and over the next within next 1 year, keep it a target. Even if you are working in some other field right now, make it a target next year, transition into this field, or at least whatever you are doing right now, implement the learnings from data science in your field and then transition from there. There are plenty of students coming into the pool, and a lot of them will be very soon competing with you. So to be ahead of the curve, you have to start first. So get started ASAP. And I have seen people who for the past 3 years have been saying, I want to become a data scientist. What should I do? Okay, right now I cannot enroll in a course. I have other obligations. Then later I am busy with my work. Then later, okay, I'm getting married. Then later, like it just goes on. Forget. If you are really serious about making your career in this stream, start now. All right. Now, are there any other general questions? After that, we are going to look at a couple of examples we have built. So before that, let's close all the open topics here. So feel free, turn on your microphone if you want, use the chat window if you want. Okay, difference between AI and ML. Okay, I'll do that after the example we are going to see. Remind me if I don't. Okay.
Are we going to learn R here?
R is not part of this course. And by the way, from my experience, I have learned R, but I have been in industry for more than five. It's almost 6 years now. I have done academic research for 3 years before that. I have learned R, but there has been no situation where I had to do something with R. So it's not a hard and fast requirement for a data scientist. Does that answer?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Hello, sir. This is Vinay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You said about installation of poles in ponds to
Uh-huh.
know how many species of fishes are. How it is possible, sir?
Yeah. So they what we do is we collect the data. We have to collect data in the past. Okay, we to do predictions about the future, we have to know what happened in the past. So what they have done is they looked at only one or two ponds. They looked at all these statistics, and then they had some measures to find the changes in flora and fauna of the lakes. And after collecting data for several years, now they have got the models which they can use for prediction in the future. So I do not have too much details about it. I could not find any publicly available information, and a lot of these projects are based on some restrictions, like you cannot talk about them till it comes to the media. But I am aware of plenty of other examples where people in the foreign countries, people are looking at expected traffic in different roads. Based on that, they will change the durations of the signals and all. This is also based on the past data. Oops.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Malikarjun.
So why should we learn the data science? Because in marketing field there is different ways are there. Then why should we learn data science?
What different ways are there?
So my question is to
Hmm.
that why should we learn the data science?
Mhm. Why should we learn data science? From what perspective? Like, a lot of people think that this is the right career option. Can you rephrase your question? So make it harder, then
Be-
we will try to answer it.
yeah, because in the marketing field there is different ways are there. So there is web designing is there. There are lots
Okay,
of ways
okay,
are there, no?
okay, nice. You are
Yeah,
saying that there are different career options. Why to pick this career option?
yeah,
Okay, good. Very good question. A lot
yeah.
of people have been asking this to yourself. Um, One thing is that this field is in its early stage. So just imagine if you were 20 years older right now, if you got into Java development in early 90s, where you would be after 10 years, right? If you become a Java developer now, where will you be? Think about that difference. Right now, this field is starting to grow, and this is again a very personal opinion. If you I entered this field in I started learning in 2012, and I entered the industry in 2015, which I think gave me a lot of opportunity. Even right now the field is growing, new technologies are still coming up, and it will solidify over the next few years. So you will be one of the people who will be there from the starting era of this field. I think that is really going to skyrocket your profile in the next 10-15 years. Apart from that, I do not mean to say that there is anything wrong about any other field of study. But one thing I can definitely say that this field will give you a lot more opportunity. And in terms of salary expectations and all, people talk about that this field might give you more money compared to other field with the same level of expertise. So does that satisfy you, Malikarjun, or you want to add something?
Yes, satisfied, sir. I have one more question, sir.
Hmm. Go ahead.
Hello, sorry, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Sir, tell me about the teaching staff.
About the teaching
వీళ్ళకి
staff.
ఒక అయినా చాలా
Okay. Uh, Malikarjun, for details, I can only talk about myself. There are people way more senior than me who are teaching. Everybody has a good amount of experience in building stuff and teaching. Raghu can, or anybody at Innomatics, contact with any of the managers at Innomatics. They can share the details. I hope I have shared my background. I am one of the trainers here, and other people are senior than me, most of them.
tell me shortly about that, sir. How many staffs are there? What is the
Uh,
qualifications are and
Okay,
their experience?
Aditya, let me answer
yeah.
this.
Shortly, shortly.
Let me answer this, Aditya. Hi guys, I'm Raghuram. I'm a data science program manager at Innomatics. I'm also one of the scientists as well. So, answer to you, Mallikarjun. We have around 25 plus data science faculties around in Innomatics. We have a very good pool of faculties who are industry experts, who are currently working, who have some have PhDs, who are having around industry experience of more than 10, 12, 15, and also 8 plus, like everyone has their own area of expertise. Some are good with data science based machine learning, some are good in computer vision, some are good in statistics. So we always take the feedback from the students, and we always take the feedback, and will see like who is giving the best in the particular module. So we will be assigning multiple faculties around during the course, like based upon the expertise from the previous lectures and the feedback. So you will see that multiple faculties taking it here with different experience and exposure, working on various applications in the real time industry. So you could see plenty of them. And also we have a in-house data science team where you can you or not only the conducting the classes online between 8 to 10. We also have a mentoring sessions in the afternoons. Our in-house data science team will be helping you out in terms of queries, anything which is discussed in the class, or anything that you have a queries in your assignments or projects. you can join this mentoring sessions. You can get clear them. Our mentor team has always been available between 2 to 5 from Monday to Saturday. So this is of, we have a bunch of people around who can help you out to learn and expertise during the course. Hope I'm answered your question, Mallikarjun.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
So guys, we have a plenty of assignments, guys. Not only the classes, like I said, we have a methodology of of making you to learn in the class, followed by giving an assignment, followed by once the module is getting completed, we'll be giving a projects, and then once the project is also being done, we conduct the hackathons. The hackathons, the reason behind of conducting hackathons are nothing but to test yourself with a given with a use case in a given time frame. So this it will challenge you. Definitely, the reason is there is a systematic approach of learning happening in Inomatics, like class followed by assignment and project. So in order to test yourself, we conduct this hackathon. This hackathon is also one kind of preparation for the interviews. The reason behind is, in the most of the, if you see, data science interviews will happen with with a technical discussion along with a task. A coding challenge task will be given to the people who are appearing for the interviews. So hackathon is such kind of one kind of a thing that we will be preparing to such kind of a task oriented rounds in the interviews. So this will help you out to prepare during your interviews. And we also have a separate HR wing where they'll also help you out to build the resumes and help you out in bringing the requirements on your desk. And and that's how we will make sure that you are ready for industry. We create your profile in GitHub as well. We also provide your profile in the LinkedIn as well with the projects that you have gone through. There will be around 5 to 7 projects during the course you go through in Inomatics. We have a Python based projects, we have statistical based projects, and also we have something on machine learning, around 2 to 3, and deep learning like computer vision and NLP, natural language processing. So you will be finding plenty of projects, and you will be working on it. Our mentors will helping you out once you are ready to work on it. And also we'll be subsequently we'll also conduct hackathons on this module, so that you will be more prepared to the for the interviews as well as testing yourself once the course is being completed. Not once the course is being, it will be between the course. The hackathons will be conducted with the time to time, with the module to module as well.
Okay, thank you, Raghu. We have one more question, somewhat similar to this in the chat. Raghu, can you answer that as well based on your experience? Will it be easy for an outsider to get a job in data science with just this course only?
Yes. Just a second. Let me. I have been in short of the course, it's enough to get a job for an outsider. Yes. Sorry, didn't see the name.
Praveen.
Yeah, Praveen. Yeah, Praveen. The point is, like, if you could see now who are becoming data scientists is, all the people who are non-data scientists earlier. So what is the difference that or making them to get the job is one thing. One point will be like the knowledge in the data science, definitely. And the knowledge of data science only comes with the more of learning curve along with the projects that you have done during your learning stage. And it is not an outsider anymore, guys. Can I know your background, Praveen? If I have to put it in a simpler way.
Feel free to turn on your mic.
Electronical design engineer. So as you are coming from one of the engineering background, see, it is easy for you to understand like what is the standards of industry has been maintaining in your domain, right? In the industry domain. So everyone comes with some knowledge and some expertise in their own domain, right? So the same thing will be expected from you, like from your past experience as a domain specific in a previous industry or outsider. how you gonna be applying the data science based knowledge along with your previous experience in order to make the data science project forward. Because we see there's a lot of people from chemical industry coming into the data scientists, and they are doing wonders. A lot of people from mechanical industry, mechanical engineering have joined in data science courses, and they have got jobs and doing tremendously. So what is the point that making them is the knowledge curve, like how they are prepared in the course, during the course, how well they have done understood the methodology of data science. Because data science, you're not building anything, it is just a pipeline, like how you are handling the data, how you are analyzing the data, and how you are building the machine learning models, how you are building deep learning models, and how you are handling the image processing. This kind of understanding is being more expected than what you have done in the previous. Okay, so this is what you will be tested during data science interviews. So once you have known this, no longer will be become any outsider. Trust me, because I'm also working. Even Aditya is working. So all we could see from the candidate is, does the knowledge that he have learned in the data science he's been applicable in the, is he ready to apply in the job or not, is what they see most. And you can achieve this, trust me, because even non-IT, we have, even we in Inomatics, we have seen a lot of the non-IT professions are joining, and they have achieved this. They have got the jobs in the past, and they are also getting now. So it is something that you can do this, the data science, and once you have known this, you no longer become an outsider. Trust me, because there are plenty of people who've been there and who've been doing it, and they are doing tremendously good in the industry. Okay, Venkat, fee is a details. We are the technical people, so we don't discuss on the fee issues. You can contact our respective sales person that you have connected before. So they'll be explaining all the details one-on-one in the phone call.
Okay. And ratio of jobs available and people, we do not have a clear statistics from everywhere, but from my experience, there are good amount of jobs available, but good candidates who apply for them are very few. And
Yes,
even I weekly I take 3-4 interviews every week for people in my team, and I find it really hard to find people who, if like people who are ready with all the knowledge that we have in the curriculum, we can pick them directly. So that's the approach you should also have. There are jobs, you have to be good enough, because there are plenty of people who have very limited knowledge and then they are applying. Is and this is still new for India, even for many companies. Dealing with what? Did not get that. And meanwhile, Raghu, can you talk about this internship thing?
yeah. So guys, we also provide internship opportunities, like only with the assessment. See, we will be assessing you during the course, like whoever the top performers we have, Inomatics can provide an internship for you people. Again, I'm telling you, this is on again the assessment based. The We have a criteria for the selection. You should be on the top performers during the course. So it is like it goes with the time to time. Perform well and get into the criteria, and you can get the opportunities as an intern. And also we make our students to work on the projects during the internships. We'll be giving some industry based standards projects, and we'll asking them to work on it, and upscaling yourself during the course or even after the course. Like mostly it is after the course, because you need to know the complete knowledge of data science so that it can apply well on the internships, during your internships. Guys, there is one way for the people like Precious, there is one way to get for you as well, like you can get internship and then convert it into full-time role. This has been happening a lot now in the industry. Like people who believes, like being a fresher, am I able to get the job? Yes, you can able to get job. There are the two formats. You can straight away get the job, or some few of the companies now started offering internships now, which is paid internships mostly. They'll take you for 3 months to 6 months, then ask you to work on it, and slowly they convert them into a full-time role. So there is a plenty of opportunities are there in the market for the senior people. Yes, you also have the similar kind of thing, not internship based. You will also be tested like one get tested with other kind of a role. And also for the fresher, the advantage is also for for the fresher is like internship based and then converting into the full-time roles.
Okay, thanks, Raghu. I hope all the questions got answered. So let's continue. Suraj's question, I'm not very clear about what you're asking. Yeah, the field is new, the challenges we are facing are new. We have relatively lesser number of people than we would want to be. So if I'm talking about the other work that I'm doing there, we have when I joined, we had a team of around 15 people, and we really promoted this idea to top management that we do need lot of people, and right now we have hired plenty of freshers there. So we are definitely finding smart people who are already comfortable with the concepts, which are anyways a part of pneumatics course, and then we are getting them involved. But yes, it's another pain that it takes a couple of months for a new person to transition to a job, right? But yes, we are learning to deal with it. uh, keep pushing your questions on the chat as we go along. And now I'm going to show a very quick case study about one of the projects we have worked on. So you understand what is sentiment analysis, right? So it's a kind of the problem has become very mature now. People have been working on it for 10 to 15 years. The idea is that when a piece of text is given to you, when a sentence, a tweet, or a chat message is given to you, can you find out whether it is positive, negative, or neutral? This is the problem of sentiment analysis. Why do we need it? The thing is, if we can find out based on what's happening in social media, if we release a new product and then people are writing about it, we can say what people are talking about. Is it positively received or negatively received? For example, when new ad campaigns come in, there is a lot of noise in the social media about if there is something wrong with the ads. So what the level of problem we wanted to look for was not here. We started with social media text, which is unclear, the grammar is bad, the spellings are incorrect, right? And then the problem got increased a little. Somebody said that, okay, I liked this laptop, but there is a reflection on screen during daytime in the outdoors. Then what are they talking about? They are negative about the screen reflection, right? But everything else is good. That is the kind of granularity we want to reach. We want to be more fine grain. Then you have multiple sentiments in one sentence. There are cases like, okay, this is good, but this is bad, and that is good. Can we separate them out? These were the challenges we were facing. Then we have more stuff like in social media text. Can we say that if, let's say, you are a manager of a restaurant, somebody is writing some review on Zomato, can I rather aggregate all the things and say that in Shag House, the food is very good, but the ambience is very weird. There is a weird smell all the day, all the night, right? If we can find that for the business managers, they can make sure their services are tuned accordingly. And the level 5 problem which I solved was related to this. In social media, you you are Telugu speaker, you are Hindi speaker, you are Marathi speaker, but you are chatting in English. Before the work which I am going to talk about, there was nothing which existed to find sentiments there. We found a solution using deep learning for that. So this is an example. Okay, this rooftop restaurant has a great ambience. We went there for a buffet team lunch. The veg starters were better than the non-veg ones, and the main course was. This is how every review online looks like, right? People are talking about 20 things in one sentence, except for kali dal, which was extraordinary. The desserts were also good. Waiters were polite and helpful. Actually, the person had a good experience. They went with a big team, and probably things came quickly, but the person mentioned that veg starters were better than non-veg ones, and main course was just okay. If we can find a structure like this, that the person is saying kali dal is extraordinarily good, Veg starters, desserts, waiters are good. Ambience and main course are good. Well, like okay is good. Non-veg starters are not good. If we can label our things in that like that across thousands of reviews. Now, if you have a friend coming over for dinner, you want to go to this restaurant, and the friend is non-vegetarian, do you think you should take them to that restaurant? If we can give you a summary of this kind, this is the problem we want to solve for a slightly different space. So this is what normally happens. We have sentences like this. I don't love this movie. I love this movie is a highly positive sentence, right? I don't love makes it negative. But there is nothing I don't love about this movie. This is where things become more complicated and a lot of traditional techniques will start to failure. And then there is stuff like this. Just take a moment and read them. While the ambience and atmosphere were great, the food could have been a lot better. The person is not negative about the food. They're saying the food could have been a lot better. Now look at the next one. I've asked a cart attendant for a lotus leaf wrapped rice. This is your dish. And she replied back, rice, and walked away. Just think, you are sitting in a restaurant. You are saying, I want lotus leaf wrapped rice. And she goes away. What does it tell you? The service is, they are rude, right? That is not a place you would love to go with your family and friends. Then you have next one. Service was divine. Oysters were sensual. The price cannot be beaten. This is something very good. So, by looking at them about a particular restaurant, we want to answer a certain questions like this. Now, look at this sentence. I like the decorations, the service, and the staff, but not the desserts. We need to pick aspects like these. Okay. We want to find what is the item which the sentiment is being expressed towards. We want to find, separate them into different business categories. We want to find with whether the person is positive or negative about them. After that, we can aggregate it across any number of reviews and we can give a summary. Right? Just think if you have a system like this, if you are whether you are a customer or you are a business manager, it's something very good for you. Half of your business decisions can come from here. And right now there is another trend. There is a complete different field of study called as decision support systems, where we are talking about now we are starting to talk about data driven decision support systems. These tools are what are helping there in that totally different field related to business management. We had plenty of challenges like this. There can be multi-word aspects like kali dal, pizza with mushroom toppings. Is it like chicken pizza is separate and then mushroom toppings are coming separate, or is it one single dish? Pumpkin golden buns pecking duck dinner. This is another thing we had in the actual data set. There can be other stuff like very crowded. What is very crowded? What is the person talking about? Can we find that? We were going to answer the questions like this, for which we tried different approaches, and then these are the things which I really it will be hard for me to explain to them right now. But as you go along with the course, when we finish 2-3 months of the course, by that time you should be able to understand what I'm going to explain. In NLP, there is something called as dependency parsing. NLP is natural language processing, the subject where we try to understand, make the computers understand written text. Okay? So we take this concept, we found some other ways, forget about the all these fancy symbols. It's something very simple if you understand it. We leveraged all of them together, and then we found that we were able to find all these aspects which I showed you here. We were able to find all of them. Then we classified them into one of the category. Again, this is something which you will be learning after 2 months. Then we created a complete pipeline for it too. We created an app around it. So now whenever a new review is coming, we are reading it and then we are sending it to the request handler. We are fetching and getting the details in the MongoDB, and then uh, again we do it across all the phases. Everything is built using continuous integration pipeline through Jenkins, Git, Docker, and AWS. And then there was one more problem that we faced. It was like this. On the sentences on left were there in our data set. ऐसा PM ना हुआ है ना ही होगा. Trailer धांसू है भाई. Some Salman Khan's movie had come. Trailer धांसू है भाई. Standard techniques could not tell whether it is positive or negative. That is what we trained. So the challenges we faced were like these. In lot of Indian languages, we can have multiple variations. So the word bahut in Hindi, which means very, can be written in all these different variations. They are coming from actual data. You might look like write it like this. I might write it like this. Okay. Same way, Mubarak word was in different styles. Pyar word was in different styles. That is one challenge. How to find which word are you talking about? And then there are sentence word order variations in Indian languages. In some situations, we can shuffle the words around, but still the meaning will be same. So we built a stack of dense deep neural network using different ideas that you will be learning after 3 months. And based on that, we were able to find combinations like this. So wherever you see white color, right, they are the words which we learned are important to tell me the sentiment. So we have this word always. Look at the spelling. Such horrible spelling of always, but still we found that this might impact the meaning, the sentiment. Rocked again, rocked is ROCKD. What kind of rocked is it? But we found that it is something which carries sentiment. We love is definitely there. I love this combination. It's not a word, right? But we found that there is something in this word which is important. Super, look at this super. Again, this is something which is very important here. We are able to find this using all these techniques. So fine, with that, I do not want to drag it for very long. I'll show you a couple of very simple things that we have done so far. Okay. Okay. Any questions about what I have shown you so far? Feel free, you can keep writing questions if you have any. Okay. And meanwhile, I'll show you what our students have been doing within their first 1 or 2 months in the course. So this is your notebook, which this is the tool that you see here, right? On the browser, I've opened something. This is called Jupyter Notebook. You will learn it in a couple of days. So this is where we will start doing all the coding. It can combine regular text for explaining what is happening, and you can combine code here, and the output will be printed right here. So what we did was we took all the data, ball by ball details about the IPL. Just think about the possibilities of what we are doing. Okay, we have all the details from every single ball that has been played in IPL. If I can find who is the bowler, who is the batsman, what is the which pitch are they playing in, and what order are we playing, who is leading, who is what is the inning number. By using all of that, just imagine right now, what can you find? And this can become a decision support system for the managers of the teams if you can build a very robust system like this. If we know that for this this is a match happening in Mumbai, and you are a team of Kolkata, you want to find which player should be the opener. Can we look at the past records? Look at who are the players that you have who, when they played in as an opener, they did better compared to when they played later. These are the kind of questions we try to answer. So we did plenty of analysis. I'm not showing you all these individual details. I'll take you straight to a couple of diagrams which we eventually made. Okay, here. Okay, so this is about how many matches a particular team has won or lost in general. This is how the kind of ratio of their wins and losses. All right. And with that, we continued it further. We looked at all the stadiums where they have played. Look at it. And then we have a couple of very clear observations about uh, one thing is that teams win more in their home ground, right? We have Kolkata team which is always winning in Eden, mostly winning in Eden Gardens. They win a couple of in a couple of other places as well, but Eden Gardens is where they won the most. Then you have Hyderabad, which is winning here in M.H. Chidambaram Stadium. We have Mumbai Indians, which is winning in D.Y. Patil Sports Academy. And then there are other light colors that you see. They are the secondary stadiums, right? So this is the kind of information that can really help you predict what will happen in a match. We are not creating a system to bet for the matches, but this project was more about analyzing the data, what is going on. And this is what people have done after being 1 month into the course. Okay, this is the kind of stuff you will be doing. Then I think this is same. Okay, the colors is different. So this is one example I wanted to show. Then there were a couple of other things people have tried. So this is rest of the stuff some people have done as a part of the homework. So who for each player, is a player particularly good against any particular team? If you can find that, then maybe that player you have to keep in mind while preparing team for the next match, right? This was one example. I'll show you another example we did recently. So this is again something people did when first you learn about basic Python, you learn about SQL, you learn about statistics, and then you come to machine learning, right? This is what people who are learning statistics have done. So we have dealt with the first two algorithms so far in that batch. And after the second algorithm, when they understand about how any image can be written, and this is what they have built. You can give any image and it will, using the most crude approach, they are able to predict what that number might be. So I have it open here. We can again, this is software similar to Paint. Okay, there is nothing fancy about it. I'm going to write a number. You can see the number, right? I'll save the file and it will go back here. This is the number which I have just created, and let's see what it predicts. The number is 2. Wonderful, right? And we can further change it. And I know based on my experience, this system is not robust. This can fail easily, but still it is working so far so good. I changed the number again. We have this 0. Let's see what our system is saying. It's saying 7, probably because on the right there is something weird going on. And I can try to, actually 7 number is good to find out, or the number 6. Let's see what this shows up as. 5. Okay, fine. If there is a little bit of resemblance with 5 as well. Right. So this is the most basic technique you can use for this kind of a problem. And we have ways to find the accuracy of the model. And then we found that it was kind of 97% accurate, which is a good indication. So this is the stuff you will be learning. One of the very small thing that you will learn as a part of the course. All right. So fine. I think that's all I had for demo. Now, uh, we are open for question answering. Feel free to ask any questions that you might have. After this, once the course begins, then you will be on this journey every single day, every single morning. You will get up, you will learn something new every day. And hopefully in next 4 5 months, you will learn enough that you can build something from scratch by yourself and solve some real world problems. Okay. So that's all I have, guys. Thank you for listening so patiently. We have plenty of time. If you have any questions, we can answer them. All right, guys. Just for my curiosity, please open the chat window and write yes or why if you have already enrolled with us. So I just want to get a grasp about some of you must have already seen a couple of other presentations by some other trainer, right? Okay, we have three people here. Nice. All right. So Harsha, Vinay, and Divya, you have started dipping your feet into it, and now one thing that I can really guarantee is that your journey will be amazing. Next few months with whoever is your trainer, it will be fun to study all these new concepts. And there is one thing I really want to share with everybody that one thing that you certainly have to do is you do not think that by just listening. I have seen that not in Inomatics, but in other places, especially when online courses happen, people are tuned in from one ear and from the other ear they are watching TV or doing something else. That is not the approach that you should be taking. Okay, make sure you are highly actively engaged, and our structure is that we try to make it as engaging and as possible. Sometimes it might be even more engaging compared to sitting in a class and studying. Okay, so do we have any other questions, any other worries, any concerns? I think not too many questions. Raghu, so what is the plan with this group?
Our sales team will connect further, Aditya.
Okay, all right. So if there are any questions, please put them right away. After that, we can close the class.
Hi Aditya, this is Ajay Raj. As I asked you right in the chat, can you give me the one more example on AI and ML, the difference?
Okay, if I talk from algorithms perspective, there can be the approach. Actually, first I'll generalize the difference. Okay, in
Okay, okay,
AI, we look at the technique, we look at step-by-step method that we have to do. That happens in AI, hardcore AI, like traditional AI, which we used to do. We have algorithms which you will write pseudocode in 20 lines, you will implement in 100 lines, and then rather than looking at what's actually happening in the real world, for example, you want to follow a maze, right? You will try to create a map of where you have been in a maze. You move further. If you see a wall, then take a left turn. If there is a wall, then take a right turn, and meanwhile keep a log of wherever have you been, right? This is traditional AI. There are plenty of algorithms like that. In machine learning, our approach is different. The algorithms that we will study here will not give you the solution, but rather the algorithms will try to learn something about the real world. So using all these algorithms, we will do plenty of experiments based on past experiences. In those experiments, we will learn that when this situation happened, should you turn right or left? Another good example will be more like how do you pick what car to suggest to a person? Okay, or what range of how expensive car should someone buy? How do you recommend that? One older approach, traditional approach will be like, okay, look at the educational background. If the person has masters, then put him in bucket A. If the person has bachelors, put them in bucket B. If the person has PhD, put them in bucket C. And then look at the company they are from. If they are from a Fortune 500 company, and then they are from bucket A, in that case multiply their monthly salary by 10 times and then give that number. These are the rules, right? We are specifying every single thing. This is traditional AI kind of an approach. And in machine learning, what we do is we look at all the people in the past, what cars have they bought. Based on that, we are learning all these rules indirectly, that okay, this is their education level, this is their monthly salary, this is their how many loans they have right now, and by a multiplication all of them, some kind of combination, this is the value that they might be ready to pay for a car. Does that help?
yes, yes, Aditya. Thank you.
So one more way of looking at it is like machine learning is about learning from data. I think that is the simplest way I can put it. If you are learning from data, then you are talking about machine learning. If not, then it might be traditional AI.
Okay.
Thanks for the question.
Thanks. Thank you.
Right. Do we have any other questions?
And one more thing is, Aditya, just I heard, like, I mean, I don't know whether it is a correct thing or not. I mean, the statistics, right? It will be a difficult part. So when we go, I mean, go for this data science, right, course, right? Uh, I mean, as this is a difficult one, right? Statistics. So because I don't have any background for that, so
Okay,
is it
no
okay?
problem.
So will it be okay for me, or how?
Yeah, so in as a part of our curriculum, we assume that you might know very basic statistics at class 10 level. And even if you don't know worries about it at all, we start with the measures of central tendency. And within 2 weeks, we crunch the information that is required for machine learning. Okay, we
Okay.
will go with all these basics that you already know, like you know mean, median, mode, you know what is
Yep.
standard deviation. We start from there. We take one full day just to explain those basic components, and after that we build over it, and over the next 1 or 2 weeks you will learn whatever is required for machine learning.
Okay.
Okay, so everything will be taught as a part of the course which is required. All right, all right, do we have any other questions? So fine, this has been, I hope, a very informative and a very productive morning for you. And it's a very good time that you are thinking about building having a career in this stream, which is going to boom a lot in next few years. And if you enter it now, it's like Behti Ganga mein haath dholo. You are entering at the time when it's booming. It will help you a lot, and over the next maybe next 1 decade, it's going to shoot you to a different height compared to going into any other stream. Now with that, I would really say that definitely, if you are not able to make up your mind yet, talk to the salesperson you have been talking with, and they can answer all of your personal questions that you could not ask here. If you have any concerns, please feel free. And whatever you decide, guys, I would wish you the best for your career. uh, be positive, be hardworking, be curious. You will go reach very good heights. With that, Raghu, I hand over to you. Please make the concluding remarks.
Guys, if you have any questions, you can ask us, or else we can good to go with conclusion of the session. Yeah.
All right, I think we can conclude.
Yeah, okay then. Thank you all. Thank you for joining. And so people, few of the people I know who haven't registered our sales team will be connecting to you today. Thank you all.
All right, bye bye, everyone. Have a good day. Thank you.